Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. Hope that week is rolling right along. We got a great question. Scott joins me today from a cheer dad up in Canada. Let's hit zero when you head down to Walt Disney World in May. You know what I'm talking about. He wants to know about heading out on their first Disney cruise, but more importantly, the day after they get off the ship, how quickly can they get back to Walt Disney World, and what should they do with that day? Should they take advantage of that free water park day for staying at a Walt Disney World resort, or should they just make it a pool day, go to Disney Springs? We have some thoughts on that. We also get some feedback on using the new Lightning Lane system now that it's been out for just about a week. We also get a question about that, so we answer that. And Len has a great question about the availability of veranda staterooms for somebody that's never sailed with Disney Cruise Line and wanting to know how that works with the Castaway Club system when those staterooms are released. This and much more coming your way on today's show. Don't forget, our podcast always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney vacation. Here's the best part: no cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's super simple. Just click through beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys are our all-stars. You make the show happen. It's just $5 a month, and it supports everything we do. And for that $5, you get a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. So come on over, join us. We'd love to have you. And thanks to everybody who has. It's patreon.com/beourguestpodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2530 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from beourguestpodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you, and welcome to the last day of July. Can you believe it? I'm not even going to mention what's going to happen next month here around the United States, especially in the Midwest and in the South. People up in the Northeast are still in the clear, but I'm not bringing it up. Enjoy the days as the sunsets get sooner. But you know what? Football is in the air. I hear shoulder pads cracking around here. They got the tweet from our Howl Vikings that the football jamboree is a mere couple of weeks away. So yes, my favorite time of the year is just right around the corner. It's going to be a beautiful fall. But today, we've made it halfway through the week already. I mean, this is a great thing, and that means it is time for listener questions. Pam, just off one of her 7 consecutive cruises. I don't know if she's officially a pirate at this point. Maybe, maybe not. She has gone to the Caribbean, then she went and saw glaciers. We'll have to get the full report from her if she ever comes home. And Ricky, celebrating her wedding anniversary as we're recording today. So happy anniversary to Brian and Ricky. I believe it's 18 years. So, wow. Brian, well done, brother. I mean, we've put up with Ricky here on the show for 16 years. We should get something for that. But I mean, Brian, well done. No, we love you guys. We're just giving you a hard time. Happy anniversary to the two lovebirds there. So that just leaves Mike and Scott this week. So you get the morning zoo here. So Scotty G, join us for Must See Adventures. Check him out over on YouTube. What's up, Scotty G?
Happy Wednesday, Mike. Love answering the listener questions, and I just apologize in advance that the ladies left us hanging this week, so you guys got to put up with me and Mike. So may the force be with you today. But I think it's going to be good. Let's get some good questions out here, Mike.
We are going to do the best we can. Apparently, Facebook and Twitch are giving some listeners some issues, but we're gonna power through here. So hang with us and give us a shot and give us the feedback. Let us know what is going on there. But we're going to start off with the question here from Sean in the inbox here, and he says, "Happy Monday, VOGP crew." Happy Monday or Wednesday, depending on when you listen to the show. We have a split stay coming up in December. 2 nights at the Polynesian and 2 nights at the Grand Floridian. I like the way Sean stays. He stays on the
start.
Dude, he stays on the monorail loop, and he likes that side of
We might as
Seven
well
Seas
just add
Lagoon.
2 nights at the Contemporary, right?
Well, why not? And then a couple nights at Wilderness Lodge, and then I guess you could stay in
then
the
maybe
cabin.
go 2 nights at Caribbean Beach too.
Why
This
not?
is like a Pam Forrester trip right now.
Seriously, Sean, come on now. I mean, you're knocking it out though. This is a great stay. He says he's checking in at the Polynesian on December 8th, and he's checking in on December 10th for the Grand Floridian. With the new Lightning Lane rules, I know I can buy Lightning Lanes 7 days before arrival. We have annual passes, so our park reservations are already locked in. So again, he does have to make park reservations because of the APs. You got to remember that if you don't remember that APs still have to do park reservations. With the split stay, will I be able to pick my Lightning Lanes for the entire trip 7 days before my check-in on the 8th? Or will I only get the Polynesian days? Then 7 days before the Grand Floridian check-in on the 10th, will I have to make my picks for the second half of the trip? I haven't been able to find information on split stays. Thanks for the guidance, Sean up in the mitten.
Hey,
Another Michigander. Well, so what would you think on this one?
I think this is going to tie into dining, and that is always based on your reservation, right? So if you have a 7-day stay, then tied it to a 3-day, like you're doing 7 days at a moderate, then 3 at a deluxe at the end, you can book those first 7 days as 60 days, and then you got to wait till 60 days before your third one. I think it's going to work the same way for Lightning Lanes. Wouldn't you think, Mike? I don't know for certain, though.
I would guess so. Yeah, I would think so.
It's like the same system. I mean, it's the same. I feel like it's going to feed off the same system with like the rules for days tied to a reservation. So I'm going to have to say that you book you book the Polynesian, and then you have to wait until 2 days later to book your Grand Floridian ones.
What I'm thinking though, since he only has such short stays, right? Like, I mean, he's staying 2 nights at the Poly. And so could he not book 7 days though at the check-in day at the Poly?
Yeah, you can for that one, but then
Could he
you
only
can't
do?
make
Can he
your
only
grand-
do?
you
Can
can't
he
do
only
your
do?
grand ones at the same time.
So he could only do 2 days when he checks in at the Poly, because I just
And then you have to wait 2 days later.
Yeah, that's right.
Which would still be a week before that check-in date to book the other one. I mean, the system is so new yet, where I haven't seen this question like pop up anywhere. But so again, Sean, this is based on just past experiences with other similar policies and systems with Disney. But I believe you would, just because they're separate reservations, you would have to wait another couple days after you make the first one.
And the good news is that what we've seen from all the feedback over in the clubhouse, again, brguestpodcast.com/clubhouse on the theme park thread, there is just up to the minute information on people that are in the parks and also people that are making the reservations daily and learning from the system. And I haven't seen anybody bring up split stays, especially with regards to folks that have annual passes. And that would be more likely. People with annual passes would do splits. It's easier to do it that way. But what I would do is throw that in there, because especially Cody, he's like, he loves this stuff. This is like his jam, where he's running scenarios and stuff like that, and he might have an answer already. So throw that into the clubhouse and see what people say.
And that's the thing for Sean, like this is still a few months out. Like we're talking about a December stay. So I think we have some time still to kind of learn the system and how its full functionality. So we should have a solid answer here within the next couple months. I think we'd finally see the scenario happen.
Yep. And have a great, the good news is though, people are having, I mean, knock on, fake wood here again in the studio, that the system seems to be working pretty well. Now, we did talk on Sunday night's show that there's some of the availability there is a little bit later in the day for some of the big time, like tier 1 attractions, but for the most part, people are getting on and being able to make their selections and be done with it like within 20-30 minutes. It's not a taxing or hard situation. People are finding the system very fluid and very easy to use. I mean, not hard.
I love it.
So even if you got to do it 2 days, I don't think you're going to be on there very long either day. So that's good news. A Dawn here on YouTube, who's tuned in live as we record, says, has Disney said when 2025 bookings will open for Disneyland? I wish. And the reason I read this is because maybe we're going to light a fire under Disney to release those 2025 Disneyland packages. Because a lot of times we talk about things here on a Monday when we record the shows, they happen by the time the podcast releases. And that'd be nice this week because we're in a little bit of a lull and we need that to happen. Because I'll be honest, I need to book my room for the Disneyland Half Marathon weekend in January. I'm ready. And a lot of folks are in the same boat. Now that we have the races, a lot of folks are, excited to get January booked because, hey, August is tomorrow as this show releases. I mean, it's late, and Disneyland does that. It's shocking, I think, for us that are kind of Walt Disney World fans, because especially Walt Disney World's been releasing earlier and earlier in the year for the next calendar year, and Disneyland just goes late. I mean, it's August tomorrow, and we still have 2025.
It's frustrating. I remember that last year because I was doing the return of the Disneyland races, and I was watching it every day. Like, when are they going to release? Like, do I book a like a Good Neighbor hotel in the meantime just to secure like a spot? You know what I mean? So that I can feel that stress. And why do they got to do that? Like, you train for, like, I say train, but you kind of do. You train for like how Walt Disney World is, right? Oh, I gotta book like so many months in advance, and then you think you're gonna do the same thing when you go to the other coast, and it's completely backwards. It feels like it's kind of funny when you think about it.
So I'm thinking real quick, because you've been out there many times. I think I might go. So I stayed at the Grand Legacy last year, and that worked out great. I mean, the finish line was like right behind my hotel. It was nice. I mean, it was a basic hotel room. I mean, just real basic at a decent rate. Just right across the street from Disneyland, perfect spot. Like the Tower of Terror was right across the street. I think I might go Hojo this year. I don't know, just for the history of the place, right? I mean, they're all kind of
really
just
love
right down the street. Maybe Hojo, just try it out.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
the
not a
thing
bad
is,
pick.
I like
Fairfield.
Disneyland. I mean, Fairfield. I like Disneyland, but I don't want to. I'm solo. I don't want to spend too much. If a family was with me, I'd do Disneyland Hotel. I feel guilty when I'm by myself.
I feel like solo, unless if you just got a big bankroll and you're like willing to spend a little extra, which I get. Like, there's some great reasons to book at a Disneyland, on-site hotel. But if solo race weekend, I would definitely do Good Neighbor.
Yeah, I was never in the
and
room
Hojo.
last
Hojo
year.
is a popular one with the lizards.
Yeah. Last year I was in the room zero except to sleep. I mean, zip, and it worked out well. It was a shower and it was a room, and that's really. But there's a little history to the Hojo Hotel, and I just kind of just want to check it out, and it's right there. And I just want to kind of go down the street and to see what's going on. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, I say go for it, Mike. I think that's the way to go.
Man,
The cool thing is with the Good Neighbor too, you can book packages because like you're not a pass holder out there, right? So you got to buy tickets, and that's nice, right? You can book the Hojo and add a ticket package, which I've always been a fan of.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I think that's probably what I'll go with. Because last year, remember, I had the Disneyland Villas booked. I had a deluxe studio. Dude, I wanted to stay in that so bad, and I held it to the last minute, and then I was like, I will get killed by my wife if she sees what I'm paying for this by myself. And I'm glad I didn't in the end. As much as I would have loved it, I was never in the room. Like, I mean, I'm at Disneyland. Like, I wanted to be at Rancho del Zocalo. I wanted to be on Indiana Jones. I wanted to be over at DCA riding rides,
And they also changed the start line compared to like how they used to do it. So we had friends, that booked the Disneyland Hotel thinking like, oh yeah, we're gonna be close to the start line and all that, and then boom, they changed it on us. So that was kind of cruel. It actually worked out to your advantage.
I know.
Switch,
when they changed it, I went into the old like unofficial guide and looked at a map, and I'm like, what's this little hotel right here that I have never heard of? Even as a travel agent, I'd never heard of this hotel. I'm like, Grand Legacy. And it used to be a Ramada. It used to be a Ramada Inn, like, because it was like an old. I just grabbed one off the shelf. I didn't even look at the year. And it was a Ramada Inn back in the day. And I'm like, And it had just randomly had like a room available. I'm like, because it was late in the game. Because I had a room booked. Like, I wasn't worried about getting a package. It was super late in the game. I was like, but there's a room available for like half. It was less than half what I had booked. I'm like, dude, I'm by myself. Am I going to save all that? Yes, I am.
You're like, I'm going to buy 2 extra jackets at the expo now.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And it was one of those things, the timing of it. You'd just gone to Walt Disney World. I'd just run Dopey. Christmas had just happened. Dude, you're broke as a joke. It was like, that's a huge deal. And I saw pictures. It was fine. I wanted to be there.
Yeah, the Hojo is good. You'll get to see more of like Harbor Boulevard because like I know you haven't really gone down there too much. And some of your past days, so it's kind of cool to see all the hotels and like the IHOP. Like I've had breakfast at that IHOP so many times, so it's kind of cool. Yeah,
and it's got the Wade Anderson legacy factor to it. He's in the chat here. He's let us know he stayed there back a few years ago. It's been a minute for
his signature might be on one of the walls.
Exactly. I'll be looking for that. That's a feature, not a whatever they call it with Apple. All right, our next question's from it's Ricky, but it's not Ricky Niblet. It's Ricki. Hello, BOGPT. My oldest daughter, who's 11 years old, made a travel cheer team this year and will be competing in Orlando in May. Oh, I smell Summit. Or, yeah, probably Summit. We are coming from Western Canada, and since we were traveling quite a distance, we decided to add a 4-night Bahamian cruise on the Disney Wish after the competition. It's our first Disney cruise. We're going to disembark from the Wish on Friday and are thinking we will stay one night at a Disney hotel and then fly back home on Saturday. My questions are, would we be able to take advantage of the free water park perk for 2025 if we're only staying one night? By the way, it's really hard to say water park perk, but I did.
Water park?
I think you can, right, Scott?
I didn't think about it. I didn't think if I said it right.
Everybody right now, everybody say it together. Everybody around the world, water park perk. Okay, there we go. We all said it. But I think the way the rules are written, you can, even with one night, you get to check in. It's on your check-in day. Go to the water park for free.
Yep.
Yes.
So I wonder if that's their plan, if that's Ricky's plan, right? Not even do like a theme park ticket, just do the water park perk. Ooh, that is hard to say.
It again. I know. We just want to keep saying it. Okay, well, let's continue. If so, would we be back from Port Canaveral to make it to a water park on time to be worthwhile on the Friday of disembarkation? Yes.
Yeah, I say so. Yeah.
Because so what's the average or earliest time for disembarkation to get back to your hotel?
I mean, so it depends on like what you want to do on the ship. If you're like in a hurry, right, you can keep your luggage in the room and walk off the ship, right, with your luggage, and that kind of gives you an advantage to go quicker. But if you want to leave your bags out the night before, let the room host take them, have a nice breakfast at Marceline Market and whatnot, I'd say like 8:30, 9 o'clock would probably be the time. Wouldn't you think, Mike? Maybe 8:30, 8.
Yes, since your first Disney...
You just did a Disney cruise recently, so this might be a little fresher in your mind.
Yeah, well, so it's the first Disney cruise for Ricky and his family here. So the way it works is for breakfast on your disembarkation day, which I would do because it's your last time to see your serving team. And I mean, you're paying for that breakfast, have it. So it goes by your dinner time that you're assigned. So first dinner will have earliest breakfast, and I think it's around 6:30 on disembarkation day. And then the late dinner seating will have a second breakfast, which I think is like 7:30. And so they kind of...
My time is off a little bit.
Yeah, well, no, it's like they rush you in and out. And it's real chaotic, though, on that breakfast morning of disembarkation day. Like, everybody's got their luggage, but you can do... Well, everybody's got, like, their carry-on bags. You don't have, like, your luggage. Most people put that out the night before, and it's waiting for you when you get off the ship. But everybody's got, like, their backpacks and their, carry-ons and stuff. There is a lot of stuff around the tables. But if you do the express walk off and you do keep your luggage, you can be off the ship. You're the first one off, and you could probably be to your hotel. I mean, if everything worked well and you do express walk off, which you can do if you keep your luggage and you walk off the ship, maybe a private transfer, 9:30, 9 o'clock. That's probably the earliest you would get to your hotel, 9:30. And if you did that, I mean, you could be at the water park by 10. That's probably about the time it opens. You could have a full day. Yeah. So you could.
I did this on that Memorial Day weekend trip we did, a couple of years ago, and I walked off the ship because I wanted to go to Epcot and ride Guardians. And I remember I took a picture of us as we left the ship. So we left the ship at 7:57 a.m. So I was off the ship at 8 a.m.
Wow, that's early.
Then,
did you have breakfast on the ship? Like sit down breakfast?
We may have, or we might have just skipped. I honestly can't remember. I don't have a photo of breakfast, so I probably didn't because you know me.
I'll say you probably exactly.
But so we parked there. So we rented a car. So if you had a private transfer, it would be similar, right? Like having your car ready there for you to go. I have a selfie of us in front of Spaceship Earth at 9:30. So an hour and a half later, we were inside Epcot,
that's
parked
crazy.
and everything.
Yeah. So it came. Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, so that works. Okay, and he says, and finally, if doing the above plan, what hotel would you recommend staying at? We won't be going into any of the parks and may do a water park and or just have a pool day at our hotel and maybe visit Disney Springs for dinner. I'm thinking Old Key West, Saratoga Springs, or Animal Kingdom Lodge because I've always dreamed of staying in a Savannah View room, but I'm also open to other suggestions. My family was down at Disney World last May and had an absolutely fabulous time thanks to my obsessive planning, which was assisted largely by learning what I learned listening to the podcast. Thank you as always for the wonderful content. I look forward to each and every show, Ricky. Well, thanks for listening up in Canada. We appreciate that. We'll be rooting for you guys in the Olympics here this next couple of weeks because we love our Canadian friends. Rhonda Lee's listening right now. Go Canada. Man, he nailed. So Old Key West was going to be my place, man, because this is what I did before my cruise. Just a couple of weeks back, we went down there the day before on a Friday, sailed out on a Saturday, made a pool day. We hung out there, had some food from the not the gurgling suitcase. What's the Goods to Go?
Goods to Go, yeah.
Then we had dinner at Olivia's. We took the boat. We went to Disney Springs. We saw the drone show that was going on. We did a little, window shopping, snacking. I mean, it was a great day. We didn't spend any extra money, really. It was just a relaxing day, then got on the ship. So it'd be kind of in reverse. I love Old Key West.
I had actually different thought until I heard like the Disney Springs dinner, because that's a great location if you want to have dinner in Disney Springs, right? You just take the boat over if the boats are running. In May it should be, but you never know, right? Like though there could be a drought. We've seen that the last couple of years. But I was actually going to go for Coronado, Mike.
I agree.
Because I think there's so much great pool activity, and like I'm just for like not to like sell this. I don't want everyone booking Coronado and keep it away from me, but I just love like the value you get at Coronado Springs. Like the dig site is a great pool. They have those quiet pools. I know you're going to go to the water park that day too, so the pools might not be everything to you, but there's so many great things to do around that resort. I think it's just a chill spot, kind of like Old Key West a little bit. So I could go either way. I mean, since Ricky actually put Old Key West as an option, I feel like as an owner there, I am obliged to say you have to go Old Key West. So that is going to be my final answer, but don't rule out Coronado either, though.
And he said he's kind of always dreamed about Animal Kingdom Lodge with the Savannah View room. That's a great splurge, because if you want to do that, it is kind of a pricey deluxe hotel. And if you're going to do it for one night, that's time to do it, right? I mean, it's, you don't have to do it for 7 nights. You get that Savannah View. You have 2 great pools, because you have the Jumbo House feature pool, which is great. It's huge. It's fun. You can go over to the Kidani pool if you want. That's kind of got like a lot of water features. It's across the parking lot. It's not really a layout pool. It's more of just a activity type pool. But then, you have a lot to do there. You got great dining. You got Boma. Jico would be kind of, I don't think you probably do Jico. It's kind of a signature restaurant with the kids. But you have the animals to wake up to and take in. So you got a lot of stuff going on there if you just want to make it a day.
But my thought is, and I know the water parks close earlier than the theme parks, but like if you're wanting to really enjoy a resort, like going to the water park might not be the best idea either, right? If you really want to take in, and I know that was an option Ricky mentioned, maybe like it's just maybe forget about the water park perk too and just do a resort day. So that's just something to keep in mind. Like if I want to go to Animal Kingdom Lodge to see the Savannah and do all that stuff, then I might just not go to the water park. That could be an option for me.
So here's the thing, my cheap self, right? Because I always check myself because I'm cheap. But if the water park's free, I might go to the water park for 3 hours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because
you don't have to be there all day. And it's hard to be at a water park all day.
Exactly. But I mean, if I'm not paying for it and if I get to Walt Disney World at 10 o'clock in the morning, I might do this till my room's ready. You know what I'm saying? Because that room might not be ready till 1:30 or 2. And, I go over to, especially if you're like at Animal Kingdom Lodge, man, you're right down the road from Blizzard Beach. Or if you're staying at, say they pick Saratoga, that was one of his options. He's across, or Old Key West, you're right across the street from Typhoon Lagoon.
You are.
But I mean, I don't know which one's going to be open either.
I know we've kind of been all over the place with this question, but it's funny. This came up in the clubhouse today, Mike. Someone was talking about Animal Kingdom Lodge, like going in there just not even as a resort guest, just going there to visit it. And I remember years ago, we did this like Beat It activity where you go around the resort, you do these different activities. And I've been afraid to mention that as like a suggestion on the podcast, because I don't know if they ever return those. But I went to Plan Disney today, Mike, and I found the question where someone asked, had the Beat It activities returned? And this is 2023, so last year. And the panelist said, yeah, those are back. So that's another great perk for Animal Kingdom Lodge. You can just do all those fun activities like setting up the food for the animals to eat. The Boma still does like the cookie decorating or the tours of the restaurant. So you can really turn a whole day into Animal Kingdom Lodge for sure.
Was it Ian that answered the question? Our good friend?
I can't remember. I'll have to look back. Maybe it was. So we went from Old Key West to Coronado to Old Key West back to Animal Kingdom Lodge. I'm sorry, Ricky.
This is why the girls didn't be here. And you know what? I mean, good luck to the cheer squad down there. I believe it's at Summit, unless your daughter's a world cheer member. So either way, have fun and hit 0. That's all I got to say from one cheer dad to the next.
We should
Go
put a
get it.
poll in the chat, and at the end of the episode, see where all the listeners said, and say, "Hey, Ricky, this is where everyone
you
else
should
said to go."
stay. Absolutely. All right, we have another question from Mark. He's in Portsmouth, UK. How about, was that near where it was Portsmouth? Did you go by there? Do you know?
I don't know.
You
off the
don't
top.
know?
There's
You
a
could
lot
have
of
been.
there's a lot of port happening on in the UK. I feel like.
But Scotty G's got a lot of views from his friends over in the UK.
I do.
Must
I love
see
it.
adventures this week, and he loves UK. All right, he says.
I wrote their. You know how to take notes. I wrote like Mark Portsmouth, like that was like someone's name.
There you go. It's
kinda
actually
funny.
it's Mark Dunn. But here we go. Hey, Mike, Ricky, and Scott. Just listened to your great podcast about the Disney Olympics. Very funny. Well, I have a dash I had to make back in January of this year. My wife and I visited Epcot. Like to get there at 8:30 for resort guest entrance. We had a great day. Got to about 2 p.m. Went over to Beaches and Cream. Had an ice cream. Then went for a stroll in Yacht and Beach Club. Found the store. My Sharon really liked the Loungefly bag they had there. Minnie and Mickey stripe in design. I said, "Would you like it?" She said, "I'll have to think." So we moved on. Okay, ready for this, Mike? It got to be 8:30, and we were sitting near Creations. My wife turned, I know where this is going. My wife turned to me and said, "That bag was nice, wasn't it?" I replied, "You kidding me? How on earth am I going to make it to International Gateway Beaches Shop and back again before the fireworks?" Mike, I did it in 25 minutes. My wife
Get
was
out.
Yes.
This reminded me of you with the race bib over
Yeah.
Wine and Dine.
Oh my God! Yeah. So what was the name on that one? It was because I forget the name.
Eugene.
Eugene. That was totally it. Yes, that was way.
But I got to hear about Mark's dash. So he's in,
yeah.
I'm trying to picture this. He's in Connections.
Yes.
30 minutes to fireworks.
25.
So he's got to make his all
Going
the way over
30.
the International Gateway, up the hill
Dude,
around the Epcot area resorts to Yacht Club and back in the park.
you
30
do not
minutes.
discount the hill because that hill is for real. That hill is for real. And the human obstacle course that International Gateway offers around the fireworks, not to be discounted. It's ridiculous. Okay, well, let me get back because he's got the little emoji. He said, "I did it in 25 minutes." He's got the little emoji with the tears because he's like
one.
crying tears. He says, "My wife was hysterical with laughter as she saw me hurtling towards her in the most ridiculous walk she had ever seen. No running, of course. Anyway, feel free to share this. Love the show as always. Hoping Disney changes the individual lightning lane pass for international guests. Take care, mate." Mark from Portsmouth in the UK. You know what? Just for the fact that Mark has completed this amazing Olympic athletic endeavor, Disney, cut the international guests some slack, and let's open up that early booking window to everybody around the world in the spirit of the Olympic spirit. Let's do it right now.
There we go.
Make it happen.
So he had to go through Canada, right?
Oh my God,
I mean,
he
that
went through
had to be the smartest move.
Well, let's see. I mean, if you're in
I mean,
connections,
he's on like that
if you're in
side, the
connections,
Mexico side, but you had to cross over, I feel like, or else it's going to take you too long.
yeah, we need to see his GPS.
We need a GPS. Congratulations, Mark. Good job for getting the Loungefly. Well worth it.
Oh my goodness, that is pretty good. Let's see here. We got a question from Len. He's a Sparty fan, just like you, living out in Maryland. He's always here in the chat a lot. He's not here tonight, but he's probably we're early, so that's probably our problem. It says, "Hey Mike, Jen and I are considering taking our first Disney cruise sometime in the future on Disney Cruise Line. We'd like to get a room with a veranda. Based on your description of the different levels of the Disney Cruise Line loyalty program and their ability to book earlier than the general public, will we find it hard as first-time cruisers to reserve a room with a veranda? Thanks, Len and Jen in Maryland." So, Scott, talk about how that works with booking, because somebody that's never booked maybe doesn't know actually how you book a stateroom for the first time.
So when Disney Cruise Line releases like new itineraries, right? They'll have they kind of do like the summer and then like winter or fall. They'll have like these seasons basically. It's like a 5 to 6 months worth of sailings. They'll post that time, something like that. They will open it up right to those higher tiered cruisers first. So like if you're at this tier, you get a 1 to 2 days before the next tier to gold, and then silver gets a shot, and then first time cruisers get a shot. So unless if it is like a super popular sailing, right, where everybody just happens to want to book this one sailing, chances are, even as a first-time sailor, you're going to find a few verandas available because there are a lot of verandas on these ships. There really are. That's the most, Mike, as a travel agent, I would have to say that is the most popular room category, right?
Yeah,
Maybe?
Disney Cruise Line ships, even back in '98 when they launched the Magic, they were noted because they built their ships to have, I think it's about 70% veranda staterooms, 75%. I mean, that was like they really kind of changed the industry. When you look at any of the 5 ships, they're mostly veranda staterooms, and they're also their staterooms are built for families. They're bigger than your average stateroom too.
For sure.
So yes.
Some will have obstructive views, right? Some of them, and they'll say that in the category type, right? It'll say like if you're on an older ship, they'll have like the navigator's veranda, which actually those rooms look kind of cool to me, honestly. I like the look of those.
Yeah.
Have you been in one of those before?
I've sailed actually when I sailed the Magic, I was in a navigator.
Okay. So I still haven't done the Magic or the Wonder yet, and I would love, because I think they're only on those 2 ships, right? I think
no, they have them on the Dream and Fantasy.
Oh, they do? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to sail on one of those.
They're in the corners. They're corner rooms, basically.
Yeah, I like those. But anyway, so some rooms may have like an obstructive view, but again, like unless if this is like the most popular sailing ever that Disney's ever done, very good chance that you're going to be finding a veranda available for sure. Yeah. Now, it might not necessarily be in the part of the ship you want, right? If you're very specific, like I want deck 8 midship veranda, well, then like you're going to have to open up your parameters a little bit more as a first-time cruiser and be willing to go aft or forward or maybe a little lower.
Some people
you will find one.
I mean, it's just like, you know, as you become an experienced Walt Disney World traveler, like you might want, and again, it's actually better with cruise line because you book the actual stateroom, right? You know exactly, unless you're booking in. This is a whole nother thing. Like this is like
the guaranteed,
the guaranteed staterooms, like right. I mean, this is like getting into the diamond ski runs, right? Guarantees where you book and they assign it later. It's because they overbook, kind of like the airlines. But that we'll talk about that another later. But when you book a stateroom, for the most part, you book the actual stateroom. You know exactly where you're going to be on the ship. You book the stateroom, you're set to go. When you book Walt Disney World or Disneyland, you book a standard view room, but you don't know, like at Caribbean Beach, really, if you're going to be in Jamaica, Aruba, Martinique. I mean, you could put in a room request.
That's almost like the guaranteed. I never thought about that. Like,
right.
I'm guaranteeing this room class or higher, maybe, because sometimes you might get upgraded. I don't, but
right. I mean, like when I book Coronado, like I hope I'm in the casitas, but I could be in the ranchos, I could be in the cabana, and I'm fine with it. You know, you don't know. I mean, but the thing is, like, on a cruise where you're going to be, and like some people want, like, I want to be on the hump, and like like, okay, that's these family veranda staterooms that the ship slightly kind of curves out a little bit. So your veranda's maybe like a square foot bigger, because of the curve of the ship. But I mean, people that are in the know are in the know, right? You get a little bit more. If you book an aft veranda, those are bigger for the same price, but you're facing the very back of the ship, which I love. I call them the dance floors. Like they're big.
Yeah, dude, those are awesome.
They're awesome. But I mean, it's a different perspective. Like you're facing the wake of the ship, and they're louder because you're over the engine. But it's awesome. I love them. Like but some people don't like them. Some people love them. It just depends on what you like. But yeah, you can almost always, even as a first-time cruiser, get a veranda almost every sailing, as long as you book within the first couple of months of release. But you mentioned like the popular cruises, like the ones where you might not are like the Panama Canal cruise, because a lot of times, because the thing is, there's only one of those, right? The Panama Canal cruise doesn't happen like more than once. It goes through the Panama Canal once, and then it stays out there to do Alaska. And then it'll come back, 6 months later, back to and it's super popular. People want to do, like, I want to do that when I retire. It's kind of
and
like
just be open to like floor plan, like decks, but like we were saying. But yeah. I personally love aft. Aft is my jam. Like Elizabeth sometimes like gives me some crap about it a little bit. Like, why are we always in aft? Like we're further away from the elevators and all that, depending on what ship you're on. And like, I just love being in the back of the ship. I don't know. That's just my thing.
I always book aft too, because the way I see it is, for how our family dynamic is on the ships, aft is perfect, because if you go down, you have the adult areas with Disney Cruise Line. So you got like the Tube or Evolution or what have you, if you go down. And if you go up, you have the like where you get breakfast, like Cabanas or
Cabanas is right there. Yep.
So that's pretty much a lot of my needs, and then you just go forward for the other stuff.
See, I thought yours would be closer to where the ice cream machine is.
See, I mean, then you do have to walk a little farther to the soft serve machine, but that's not a bad thing.
I think that's forward, I believe, on most of those.
Yeah, that's deck forward, Laporte. But yeah, that's, I mean,
You know what they need? I was just thinking about this. Not to go on this, but like they need 2 ice cream offerings. The traditional one that we're used to, like deck forward 14, but they need one like on deck 4 or 5 or somewhere like in the middle, so that you can have, so you don't have to always go up, right? Wouldn't that be nice?
And what about another soda machine? Like, because you got to go up to deck 11. And here's the other thing about the dream and the fantasy, right? They only have Coke Zero on the port side. That's so weird.
That's so weird.
That is so weird because they have Coke Zero, but they don't have it on the starboard side machines. They only have it on the port side machines. So, like, what if your stateroom? I think about the stupidest thing on cruises. What if you are somebody that booked on the starboard side? Because we had a starboard side stateroom, right? But I know this because I've sailed so many times. But what if you stayed on the start? Like, you only got your drinks because you're just a creature of habit. You only went to that machine. You just never explored because, like, oh, they're probably exactly the same. I mean, I would think they're exactly the same. But I know, like, I tell Pam all the time, like, where are you going? We got to go to the other side to get the Coke Zeros over there. Like, she'd, get a slice of pizza and start walking towards those ones on that side. And I'm like, no. Those are the Diet Coke machines. What are you doing?
Yeah.
No.
So I got some thoughts. I don't want to do, like, a comparison of the 2 cruise lines, but, like, I will say in quick, I like Royal's soda, what they have going on with their soda, a lot better than Disney. And I can talk to you offline.
But you got to pay for your soda on Royal Caribbean, dude. I paid like $100.
Okay, so you do, but it's worth it to me because this. I'm gonna go.
Let's go.
There is pros and cons. There are pros and cons, right? Because you have to pay
I bought
for
the
it.
mug. Yeah, I don't remember.
But the best part of it is that at a Royal, if you're on the soda package, you could be at a lounge doing trivia or whatever. You can go up to the bar.
True.
They'll give you the soda.
Yeah, that's true.
So because the other stuff, it's freestyle machines, and we both know
Oh my God, you know how I feel about freestyle
in the United
machines.
States, you're getting banned.
You got that right.
So I don't like the freestyle. They had one in Sorrento's. Every time it was flat, it was nasty. So I just always got one at a lounge.
Yeah,
and it didn't matter what lounge it was, so I didn't have to go up to the top deck.
Yeah.
If I'm doing trivia and come down with like 6 cups of soda for my family, you know what I mean? Like, because you always send a runner up, right, to get all the sodas.
That's why I got my steps.
But the problem is you do have to pay for it, and I think that's why, like, I mean, Disney can't do that because they don't want to give free soda everywhere at every lounge. They want to make you work for it a little bit by going up to deck 14.
Well, it's basically what they do with the beer on Disney Cruise Line, right? Because you get the token and the mug, and you can get it at the bars, and you don't have to carry around your mug.
But it was nice, man. I would just be doing trivia at a lounge, and like I could go for a Diet Coke right now. I don't have to go up to deck 14. Boom! I could just show my key pass.
That is convenient, but I'm tight. I'd rather walk than save the money. That's just me. I'm so cheap. That's like my mind. But I mean, it's built into the cost of the cruise. I mean,
that's the way I look at it. Like, I just mentally put that in.
Yeah,
the
it's
cost
not
of the
free.
cruise.
I mean, it's built in. I mean, it's totally, you pay for it in here because.
And I know we got more questions, but really quick, you would love the UK because they don't have Diet Coke. It's all Coke Zero.
Oh my gosh, yes.
There are no diet drinks in the UK. So I like Diet Pepsi.
Yeah.
So if you watch the second episode of our European trip, you'll notice I was drinking Pepsi Max, which is like the equivalent, I think, to like Coke Zero. They don't do diet sodas. So I thought of you like, Mike would love this. It's Coke Zero everywhere.
God save the king. That's good stuff.
There you go.
I like that. Oh, now I'm rooting for, not only just rooting for Canada, I'm rooting for Great Britain. Let's go. I got all my countries are moving up the list here. I like it.
Who knows? It might just be a states thing only, maybe. I don't know. Because now I'm thinking, I don't know if I saw it in France either or any other places we went. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? All right. So last email here for today is actually a little feedback. Jennifer, who has been over in the clubhouse, she sent me an email just a couple of days ago, and she said that she had a little feedback she wanted to share with everybody. So I thought I'd throw this out here. She says, Mike, my family starts our Disney trip this Saturday, and it was going to be on July 27th with our first park day on the 28th. I was stressing about the timing of the new Lightning Lane program dropping, but this morning went super smooth. By 7:08 a.m., all Lightning Lanes were fully booked for our 4 days in the parks with no issues. She says some notes. Tiana's Bayou Adventure was the only pass that I tried for that I wasn't able to get early in the day. The earliest we could get was 5:15 p.m. The system won't let your passes overlap too much. Based on what I ended up with, it looks like there's a 15-minute tolerance. Tower of Terror, 9:10 to 10:10. Slinky Dog Dash, 9:55 to 10:55. Soarin', 9 to 10. Living with the Land, 9:45 to 10:45. Also, I had the thought a couple of times over the last week. I know that you usually book trip reports months out, but if you have availability, I'd like to talk about it when I get back. And she gets back on August 3rd. So she said she just wanted to share this so that people know that she got on it. She had her lightning lanes done within 8 minutes of the day starting. She only had issues with Tiana's not being available. And this is what we were hearing because this was put in, and we're hearing this as the days have moved past, that it's really just the e-tickets that are kind of shown available. And about that kind of same time, around dinner time, they're not loading them in early in the day. And I think that's kind of how they're kind of like in internet terms, they're kind of throttling, I think, the availability a little bit that way.
Makes sense to me. Yep.
All right, let's see. Maybe we have time for one more. Let's see.
That was some good feedback. That was some good feedback from Jennifer.
All right, let's go one more. Because there's the words golf's in this one, and you're here, so let's get this one.
Oh,
and it's a listener from the UK. I mean, what's up, dude? This is the international show.
I'm like all of Mr. UK right now. I got to work on my accent. Feedback though, instant feedback. It's all over Europe. So no diet soda in Europe. It's all like the Coke Zero or the Pepsi Max. Look at that.
I feel very British today.
That's another reason for you to expedite that passport. I'm just saying.
I'm saying that's stalled. I don't think we got to.
You don't have to worry about port side or any of that.
I know.
Like,
we got to get
wherever
this
you go.
going.
Coke Zero.
All right, this is from Rachel in the UK. Rachael. You know that's very British. Hey, Mike, love the podcast. I finally convinced my partner to book us a 2-week trip to Disney World in September of 24. We're staying at Riverside. He's never been before and thinks Disney is for kids. What can I plan to show him? This isn't true. He loves Star Wars and sports, especially golf. I was thinking of taking him to a Disney golf course. Is there any course you would recommend? Thanks, Rachel. Let me just tell you, I know my brother from another mother. He's going to say 3 little letters, and it's going to be L, B, and V.
Those are the 3 letters.
He's a good golfer, because that course is challenging, but it's pretty. And it's right. I mean, you basically golf right through Riverside, too.
Right. So that's why this is why I always recommend LBV. And
Lake Buena Vista.
With me on this, Mike, is that, and not that your partner doesn't sound like they're very into Disney, right? Or they think it's for kids. So, but to me, LBV is the most Disney course because I feel like 15 of the 18 holes you see a resort or Disney Springs. And as a Disney fan, that's what I want, right? I want to see the resorts. I want to see Mickey stuff, things like that. But if you go to the Palm or the Magnolia, which we played, Mike, just feels like a regular old golf course wherever you might play, you know. But these courses aren't going to be like how they are in the UK. I'll just say that. Like, these aren't link style courses. So, but they're championship courses. You go to the Palm of the Magnolia, the first hole talks about where Tiger Woods had to shoot a whatever on Sunday to beat out Ernie Els. Like, that was cool. About the history. Yeah.
And then you get on the tee box like, I should not be playing a course where Tiger Woods competed against Ernie Els. Like, right. I'm a sucker here.
I know.
Yeah, what am I doing here? Exactly.
But Lake Buena Vista is my favorite one. It goes to the resorts. There's some cool holes too. Like, I love the 4th hole where you're surrounded by, on both sides of the village, you got a fountain that you got to kind of hit your tee shot over. There's the short, famous par 3 that's, you kind of, as you pull into the resort is to your left, but when you pull into the resort to your right is like the pond on that one green where we all have hit hundreds of golf balls into that pond, I feel like. So I got to go LBV. That's gonna be the one that I think will catch their attention the most.
Yeah, I would totally book a round at Lake Buena Vista. And I don't know, are they still doing the Sunrise 9? That's like the greatest deal out there. Because I mean, obviously you want to spend time with. They're going for 2 weeks though. That's the beauty. You could play 18. I mean, but the Sunrise
September.
9,
I mean, it's gonna be a little hot, so I definitely recommend that early tee time. And one thing to note, because Wade and I got paired with these guys once from Ohio, where they thought like you had to wear pants on the course, because a lot of courses, right? Like, country clubs or whatever have like dress codes. So this guy like packed, it's hilarious. Like, he packed for like a summer trip, like it's July. And then he was like, oh man, I think I had to wear pants. So he like rented an Uber and went to the store to like go buy pants. And then like, then he was like paired up with me and Wade, which we were wearing like Hawaiian shirts and shorts.
No. Oh no.
So just know, like, yeah, I mean, you definitely want to wear like a golf shirt, things like that, and like nice shorts, but you don't have to worry about pants. Like, that's not a requirement by any means.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, we had a blast. We got out there, Phil, Wade, we shot around, and you don't have to be great. You know what I'm saying? It is Walt Disney World. It's meant for your average person to get out there and have a good time. I mean, the pace of play, you just got to keep moving. It's
fun.
Because I'm not a great. I'm just basically barely average, but we had a good time. We were with friends and we, drove the golf cart and hit the balls, and you know, we did the best we could. As long as you're just, have some etiquette and just keep moving, everybody's happy. And
But some other things, though, to think about too, Rachel, like spend a couple evenings I know you're at Riverside, so you can take the boat over, go down to Disney Springs. Like you'll see that it's not all kid stuff. And even if you're not into like a nightlife, like having a cocktail or not, there's still plenty of things to do in the nighttime for adults at Disney Springs or even at some of the resorts. At your resort at Riverside, you'll have Yeehaw Bob, or you go over to French Quarter and you'll have like at the Scat Gadge Lounge, you got the jazz music going. Like, oh my God, he'll be ready to book another trip afterwards. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for today. But if you have a question, let's get it in the inbox right now as you're thinking about it this week. Mike at beourguestpodcast.com. Just put listener question in the header and we'll get it right there for next week's show. But don't forget, we want to see you in the clubhouse. beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. That's where the conversation goes 24/7. Listeners all around the world. You have a question. Honestly, you'll get an answer probably within the hour. And a great discussion around all the questions, too. We talk about life there. We talk about everything, not just Disney. So come on over and be a part of our community. Again, beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. The show is always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure. No additional cost to you. That's the best part of it. And you support the show with every trip we book. So come on over this week, themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you very much to our Patreon supporters. We've got a lot of support this week, so a huge thank you for that. And when you support the show, it's just $5 a month, and you get a bonus show every week called Mike in the Midwest. So come on over, check us out this week. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give us a follow on the social media at Epscott for Scott, EPSCOT. Check out all the stuff he's doing over at Must See Adventures on YouTube. So great. Episode 3 is out now. Episode 4 is probably pending soon. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike. You can check me out all the places, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. And of course, we'll have our live call-in show this Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. Give us a yell. Let's talk Disney. Let's have some fun on Sunday night. So until we get back together again on Friday, where we're going to talk about Scott's Disneyland Paris trip. So he's got his shirt. He's got a sweatshirt on. We're going to talk about what it is like to be a stateside Disney fan. He's sailed Disney Cruise Line many times, gone to Disneyland, run the races, gone to Walt Disney World countless times, DVC member. But what was it like to squeeze as much magic out of Disneyland Paris as he could in about a day and a half? So I have many questions. I want to talk about like what's it like to draw those comparisons between Disneyland, Walt Disney World, and Disneyland Paris, dining, attractions that I think we have some that are similar, some that are different. So we're gonna have a good time talking about that on Friday. And we got a lot of France in the news right now with the Olympics going on. So it's a very timely show. So we'll have some fun with that. So come on back on Friday. Let's wrap the week with a little Paris as we talk Disneyland Paris. So until then, you guys have a great Wednesday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.